For your next project, you will be creating op art. But what does that mean? You may have heard of an optometrist or an eye doctor. Or you may have heard of an optical illusion or something that plays tricks on your eyes. So what is op art? Op art or optical art is about how you see. This process is called optics. Op art is a mathematically themed form of abstract art. In this example, you can see that whoever designed this was very careful in their measuring and layout of their design. All of the tiny little rectangles of color that you see gradually get smaller, and it's not random. It's very carefully planned out in order to create the illusion of movement and things going from larger to small, or it almost looks like it's caved in the middle. There are two types of abstract art. One type is representational, like in this example by Georgia O'Keeffe. This, although it's difficult at first to figure out what you're looking at, is a very extreme close-up of an animal bone. So as you look at it closely, you can relate it to something that you already know. It represents something you're familiar with. The second type of abstract art is non-representational, like in this example, where the design is very interesting, but it doesn't look like anything in particular. Every painting that you look at is some kind of an illusion, it seems. This is an example of a traditional illusion in art. When I look at this image, I know that it's just paint on a canvas and that there's not really a woman sitting in front of me, but my eye tells me that there's space here, that I'm looking into another room even, and my eye tells me that there's a three-dimensional woman sitting there on the couch, even though my brain knows that this is just a painting. When op art began in the 1960s, art critics weren't sure about it, but the public really loved it. In fact, they loved it so much that op art began showing up in design and fashion. It showed up in everything from wallpaper to dresses. One of the primary elements of op art is contrast. When you are given an image that has equal parts of two different elements, like in this example, the dark spaces and the lighter areas that look three-dimensional are actually pretty much equal. When I focus on the picture, my eye can't decide whether to focus on this space or on this space. So if I focus on the white pillars, it looks kind of like chess pieces, or similar to pillars like you might see on a table. If I focus on the space in between, it appears to be two people that are looking at one another and facing one another, and then these are facing away. So it really creates some tension in the image and some tension in my brain. There are two different ways to show contrast. One way is using black and white, like in this image. The other way to show contrast is using complementary colors, like in this image. Complementary colors are opposite one another on the color wheel, so they're opposite colors, which causes lots of contrast. In this example, the complementary colors blue and orange are used, but you could also use red and green or yellow and violet. Something else to keep in mind as you're creating your illusion is that dark colors recede in op art, while light colors tend to advance or come forward. Like in this example, where the lines are close together, it creates a dark value, and it makes it look as if this area is further away from me than this area where I can see larger spaces of white. This area looks like it's coming forward. Also keep in mind that in op art, cool colors tend to recede, like in this example where you see the blues, greens, and violets, in the background, further away from you, while warm colors tend to advance or come forward, like red, orange, and yellow. Now I'll show you some work from some famous op artists. The next few slides are by artist Bridget Riley. These works are from Victory Vasarely. These are by Julian Stanzek. And Carlos Cruz Diaz. For your assignment, create some op art either by tracing around an object or sketching out an image silhouette. Using parallel lines, define the form. Complete your design with complementary colors or black and white. First, find something to inspire you. In this case, I chose a pair of scissors, and as you can see, I traced it onto my background. Then draw parallel lines to define the form. As you can see, if you follow along my line, there's a bump every time I hit my object. Then add black lines to add contrast to your project. So here's an example of the finished project, and as you can see, I didn't just do one design. I have scissor designs all over my page. So I filled up my page, and then when I was finished, I erased my pencil lines so that all that you see are the black lines. So you can make an example like mine, or you can do a different type of op art. The following slides are some examples of different types of op art. Hopefully you will find one that inspires you. This last slide gives credit to the website where some of the slides came from and the inspiration for this presentation came from.